can feel the chill in the air, but tensions are hot here already. We are live at George L. Smith Field at Weigel Schaefer Stadium for tonight's WPIAL Game of the Week. It's the number 2 teams in 4A and 5A as the McKeesport Tigers host your Gateway Gators here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network and YouTube, courtesy of Gateway Gators Productions. Hi everyone and welcome. Vince Russo filling in for Adam Gusky, Spencer Witt alongside. We are so excited to bring you what should be a physical, exciting matchup between, Spencer, arguably the 2 best defenses in all the WPIAL.
Yeah, not going to be a barn burner this evening because both these teams have a lot of fire extinguishers. I mean, we're talking one of the best defenses in 5A and Gateway and in 4A in McKeesport. McKeesport only allows 2 points a game. That's a ridiculous stat line. 2 teams, I think, have only made 100 yards. The last 2 teams did not even get close on offense. So both of these teams are going to be incredibly offensive-based in the sense of how can they get around these tough defenses.
Now the Gators giving up 11 points a game, just 2.7 as Spencer mentioned. 19 total points over 7 games. McKeesport unblemished, 7-0 coming into this game. The Gators on a 3-game winning streak after dropping a close decision to Franklin Regional. They now sit on the precipice of punching there to get to the playoffs next week. McKeesport looks like they will be in the postseason as well, but a step outside of conference play. And Spencer, you talked about 2 very different offenses. I think we're going to see different approaches by these 2 teams when they have the ball.
Yeah, I think we'll talk about McKeesport as they run that flexbone offense. It's a triple option. They'll run the ball a lot. And we've seen Gateway, they've had some issues in terms of running, stopping Franklin Regional, stopping Plum at the end of their drives as well. How will they respond to an offense like McKeesport that runs not only up the middle, but they run to the side, they run the option. On the other side, I think for Gateway, we've seen the offense really work through the running game to open up the passing game for Birch. How can that be effective for a McKeesport team that hasn't really seen a wide receiver core like Gateway so far this season?
Certainly no shortage of gameplay possible athletes tonight. We'll see playmakers on both sides of the ball for both of these teams as we're just about ready to get underway here in McKeesport, Pennsylvania, just east of Pittsburgh. This is the game of the week here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network and YouTube. Gators will start with the ball. McKeesport will kick off. We've got a fresh 12 minutes on the clock. 4 quarters tonight. Not a game that will count towards either of these teams' playoff aspirations, but certainly a local rivalry we haven't seen since 2019. And now it is back underway as we are live. Kick will be taken by Inez Jordan. He's able to find a little bit of running room, still on his feet up over the 30 before he's upended at the 34-yard line, so decent field position to start for the Gators under the direction of Brad Birch at quarterback.
Yeah, good start for the Gators, and it was Jameer Brown who took him down, and a really good run, a tough kick off the kickoff, and you take another look. Jameer Brown, honestly, one of the last guys back there to be able to make that stop, and if he doesn't make that stop, he's gone.
So the touchdown saving tackle still sets up the Gators with decent field position to start this drive, the first of the game. Brad Birch will operate out of the gun with Jaquan Reynolds standing right behind him. Play action fake and a quick pass to Dallas Harper. Harper back at his number 5 jersey. Just picked up an offer from Duquesne today. So potentially a future Duquesne Duke. We'll see what decision he makes in the future. But a nice little connection there to start things off for the Gators.
Yeah, good route as you see the DB, number 7, playing that as if it's going to be a long throw, and instead Harper just stops and takes that catch for a couple of yards, gets the first down.
Good ball by Birch. Gain of 16 yards. They're at midfield. They'll go to the air once again. This one a short connection. We'll get them about 5 with forward progress. That's Malachi Moore, the tight end. So a short gain on first down.
Birch's pass complete to number 3, Malachi Moore.
Brad Birch with nearly 1,200 passing yards this far on the season, 11 touchdowns.
Second down, 5.
Coming off of 2 solid performances in a row against Hempfield and Penn Trafford. Gators coming off an emotional victory overall with the 21-10 victory against Penn Trafford in the Battle of the Bell. McKeesport coming off a 48-0 romp of Connellsville. Gators will go to the ground game for the first time, and that'll be Reynolds. He'll poke just past the 40-yard line down to the 39. That'll be just a little short. It'll be 3rd and a short one.
Number 9, Shane McGraw.
See a 3rd and 1 for Gateway. You got to think they're going to try and push us up the gut, but how will the Tigers respond?
McKeesport bringing pressure at the line of scrimmage, but Reynolds able to break through, dragging a defender. He's down inside the 35, down to the 32, and he is fired up. Reynolds coming off of an 86-yard, 1-touchdown performance. A lot of those yards coming in the second half that propelled the Gators to the win against Penn Trafford.
Good start offensively for the Gators. They're doing a lot of different plays. We saw a throw on the far side, saw a throw to the tight end, running to the left, the right, up the middle. They're really making McKeesport stay home, really spreading out that defense.
McKeesport with quality wins over Bell Vernon and Penn Trafford, but they have not played as tough a schedule as the Gators. We're going to take a shot downfield. They have a man open, falling down with the ball. That'll be brought in inside the 15-yard line, and that is the underclassman, Derek Selby. And so Selby with a nice grab there.
Yeah, soft coverage for McKeesport. They're playing a zone. The DBs are pretty far back, and they're kind of chipping in or pinching in, so they go to the sideline for a nice grab. And yeah, it was a little bit underthrown, but the fact it doesn't matter is he got the ball there. He was able to make that first down.
That ball is on the mark. Selby has a chance at a touchdown there, but nevertheless, it's 1st and 10 at the 12-yard line. Blitz coming. Birch going to have to get rid of this one quick. He does. It's Harper. Harper needs to make a few men miss. He does not. He'll be upended behind the line of scrimmage. So Birch able to avoid the sack, but it's still a net loss of 2 on 1st down.
Shane McGraw timed that perfectly on the line of scrimmage, was able to get to Birch, but Birch was able to avoid McGraw, and the fact that he's able to get away is a positive play for Gateway.
Now McGraw a little over pursuit there. Birch with a nice sidestep, delivers the throw. They'll live to play another down. Quick bubble screen here. They'll get it over to the receiver Harper, but there'll be a hold that'll bring that one back, and looks like the guilty culprit there going to be Inez Jordan there on the outside.
Yeah, it looked like just trying to get around the edge there. Jordan just doing a little too much on that one. The farther ref was the one who made that call, and that was a good call.
10 yards from the spot of the foul. Take another look at Jordan there. Just getting a little too handsy there
right
on the outside.
Right at the end of that. Right at the end of that. He's got him in this inside, but when he tries to go out, you got to let him go.
And really, number 23, the player blocked there for McKeesport, Caden Holtzman, wasn't really going to be able to make that play. So really an unnecessary hold there for the Gators that backs them up. So 1st and 10 at the 12 has now become 2nd and 22 at the 22-yard line. McKeesport shows blitz again. Birch going back to pass. Has a man underneath. That's going to be Jordan. Jordan looking to atone. Hangs on to the ball. He gets to the 19. So a nominal gain there on 2nd down will bring up 3rd and long just inside the 20.
It's a nice design there for Gateway. Is Derek Selby's kind of making a bit of a screening away any of the defenders so Inez Jordan can come back for that catch. Kind of a decoy, I guess, not necessarily a screen, but more of a decoy for Jordan to come back.
These two teams last played in 2019. 14-7 Gateway victory. Bryson Venanzio throwing for 2 touchdowns. That was a 2019 WPIAL semifinal. And this is a regular season non-conference game, but with the crowd and the energy from both of these teams, it feels like a playoff atmosphere here at McKeesport. Pressure again. Birch going to be brought down, tackled up around the head area, but it was clean. And so that's going to bring up 4th down. This drive stalls out for the Gators, and they're going to bring on the field goal unit with Cole Plaskin.
Big stop for McKeesport, and it's Shane McGraw. Look at him getting to Birch. Another guy was also over there, and he can only stop them so much. This McKeesport defense has been all over Birch, to say the least.
So this will be a 38-yard field goal attempt for Plaskin. Would be his long on the season. Hold and snap are good. That kick is up. That's a nice kick. Did it get through? It did. Cole Plaskin nails it from 38, and that looked like it could have been good from 50.
That was a good kick from Plaskin and a good start for the Gators. And again, we talked about it. No team has made double-digit points so far against McKeesport this year, but the fact that their first drive, they got points out of it is a good start for the Gators.
I mean, by my count there's already about 45-ish yards of offense for the Gators, and so they're halfway almost to the average that McKeesport gives up. A nice balanced attack there from the Gators. And so they were able to move the ball a little bit on the ground, a little bit through the air, sort of stuck with the passing game there towards the end of that drive. And they'll come up just a bit short from pay dirt, but Plaskin good from 38 yards, a beautiful kick. And the Gators strike first here on what is a beautiful night for football, but certainly a little chilly. You take a look at the crowd there, an assortment of different gear, a lot more hoodies and sweatshirts and hats than we saw to open the season. This fall is in full effect. The sun is down now, but beautiful backdrop here at McKeesport. A lot of fall foliage and a lot of clouds in the sky. It's feels like football weather. Plaskin gives this one the boot. This one will hang up at about the 6-yard line. That's where it will be taken by Bobby Boyd. Boyd almost broke that one, broke a few tackles, and it was Derek Selby with the shoestring tackle at about the 28-yard line.
Going to be hearing Bobby Boyd's name a lot this evening. As a flag is down late on the play, you see some talking. Number 10, James Fulmore, is over there with Gateway. We'll see who the call is on, but these teams were talking at the beginning of the game. They both came to each other at the 50, and then they were told to go the other way, but there was a lot of words being spoken before they did that.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 10, on the return team.
So that will be on Fulmore. He gets the taunting penalty, unsportsmanlike conduct, the official call. And so that's going to back McKeesport up here on their initial drive. That's going to be a 15-yard penalty. Takes them all the way from the 28 back to the 13-yard line.
It's a senior for McKeesport, and you haven't even had an offensive drive yet. You need to Gateway moved the ball down the field a little bit. Yeah, it was only 3 points, but it was still points. You got to let that one go, and you got to play your game first before you start talking.
At their own 14-yard line.
So on the right hash, McKeesport will go to work. It's a team that loves to run the football, and they'll do it right away. Full back carry right up the gut there. That's number 6, Larry Gibson. Gibson had a 100-yard plus rushing performance in a victory over Laurel Highlands when Bobby Boyd went down with an injury, and shows a little bit of mettle there getting through the middle.
It's a rarity nowadays to see a quarterback under center in high school. A lot of them go to the shotgun, but like we said, they run this flexbone offense and they run it to perfection. The fact that they're able to run so well with Boyd and Gibson shows.
And they'll run it up the gut once again. Not a whole lot going there. Marginal gain. They'll get the ball up to the 20-yard line, so that'll make it a 3rd and medium there. Looked like Gibson on the carry once again.
You almost wonder if that was more designed to only get a yard or two so it opens up to see if you can spread out a little bit and take a run, fake it in up the middle, then go outside with an option pitch or even throw it. So again, it's that offense that gives you so many options because you got to stay on your toes if you're the defense.
Gators looking for a stop here. Tigers looking to keep this possession going here. They're going to go to the air. Not a lot going on now. Getting away. Looks like a face mask potentially. That ball batted as it looked like there was a little bit of a grab up towards the top. Flag went out there. Kenny Lewis looks like the guilty culprit. We'll see what the, or rather number 54, excuse me, Louis Douglas. We'll see what the call is. Jamil Perryman, the quarterback. Talented dual threat. Looks like this might actually be against McKeesport. We're seeing indications that penalty is being declined. It's potentially a holding penalty,
yeah.
Spencer.
Saw a lot of guys in the backfield.
Personal foul, first down on the defense. 15 yards from the previous spot, first down.
And there it is. It was a face mask call. That will go against Louis Douglas. So what looked like a 4th down stop will be a fresh set of downs for McKeesport. We'll see if they are able to capitalize here as the Gators with a self-inflicted wound to keep that offense on the field.
And we're not crazy. We saw the referee shaking his arms as it was declined, but yeah. Saw the flag getting thrown from the far side when it was the quarterback trying to avoid that tackler and he got clipped in the face mask. You're going to call that every single time.
So that moves the ball out to the 35-yard line. McKeesport with 65 yards to go to pay dirt. Perrymill keep it himself, dive forward for a few yards. So Perryman up past the 35. Looks like he'll get to about the 37 for a nominal gain of 2.
Brought down by number 11, Harper.
interestingly. We haven't seen star back Bobby Boyd. He took the opening kickoff. We have not seen them give him the ball just yet. He had 695 yards on the season, 11 touchdowns, averages 8.6 yards a carry. Both him and Perryman on pace for 1,000-yard campaigns apiece.
Yeah, Boyd 5'8", but he's got offers from Akron, Robert Morris, St. Francis, among others. Plays both sides of the field as a DB as well, but see him on the offense here.
Reigning Defensive Player of the Year for the Big 7 Conference is again running play up the gut, and there it is, Boyd. Boyd able to get over the 35, but he's stopped before he can get back to the line of scrimmage. And so good push here initially by this Gators front. Tough sledding here for McKeesport as they are faced with yet another third down.
Yeah, Ronnie really isn't doing as well as McKeesport was hoping to start this drive. They're bailed out by a face mask call back in their own side of the field, back in their backfield, I should say, but we'll see what they do here on 3rd and 7.
So it is 3rd and 7 officially. Ball at the 37-yard line. Out of the gun, they'll hand this one off. And it's Boyd. He's able to get away from Matthew Brooks. And now Boyd off to the races. And he will go the distance. Boyd for 63 yards. But there is a flag on the field. And Spencer, I see a motion in. You think it's a hold?
I think it's a hold deep on the side of Gateway. There were two guys that went down. Caden Holtzman went down with a defender, but we'll see what the call is. Are they going to call that holding, or was it somewhere else? I didn't see where the flag was thrown at, though. Yep, it is Caden Holtzman who got called for that penalty. He was the last man with the defender for Gateway. He gets called for the holding. Going down with the defender, that's usually a sign of a hold if you both go down at the same time, and that's a killer for McKeesport.
So good eyes there from Spencer. It will be a first down because it's 10 yards from the spot of the foul, and Boyd was already well down the field. And so the Gators catch a break there, no touchdown, but you just see how athletic and how quick Boyd is as he got to that second level, and no one was going to catch him. See if they go his way again. Fresh set of downs at the Gators' 45-yard line. They'll go with Gibson. He's brought down to the backfield. Demetrius Harper knifing in and bringing down the ball carrier well in the backfield.
Well read by Harper. You knew he was going to go back to Boyd. He stayed with him the whole time and then just able to wrap him up and bring him back down to the 50-yard line. Good defense from the Gators.
So that'll be a loss of 4. As officially spotted at the 48, which will make it 2nd and 13. Play clock at 15 seconds. McKeesport still getting the play in from the sidelines. Down to 10. They'll rush up to the line and have now operated the last several plays out of the shotgun and have found some success with it. And now the play clock dead. That's going to be a delay of game penalty unless McKeesport elected to take a timeout, which they did. And so the Tigers have to burn their first timeout as the play clock was running down there. And Tigers not set.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic, unfortunately, for myself, as I talked about how they don't usually run it in shotgun like a lot of teams. Past couple plays have had McKeesport in the shotgun with Boyd to the left of the quarterback, and they've done well so far, but we'll see if they go back to that flexbone offense that has worked against the different teams. And you have to wonder if it's almost, no disrespect to the teams that McKeesport has played, how that interior line, those those linebackers do against McKeesport. And you think maybe Gateway, they're a lot better interior, so they have to kind of spread themselves out a little bit to get past that. We saw only a couple yards here and there at most for McKeesport on this side of the field.
Other than the long gash play from Boyd, it's been 3 yards in a cloud of dust for McKeesport. As the Gators controlling the line of scrimmage here on both sides early. These rivals met in the WPIAL semifinals 3 of the past 6 seasons, with McKeesport winning in 2016 and the Gators claiming victories in 2017 and 2019. Perryman going to keep it here. He finds a hole. He bounces off a would-be tackler. Gators going high on him, and looks like the ball came out there at the end. Did Perryman dive back on it? It looks like he did. So the Tigers catch a break there. Take another look.
Yeah, Perryman keeps it, and yeah, like you said, bounces off that one blocker. But right there, that's perfect freeze frame. The ball coming out but Perryman was able to hand it.
Had that ball out loose there, Spencer.
Yeah, he was not. That's not high and tight. That was kind of out there for Perryman. He's got to be careful with that one, especially once he becomes a runner and not even quarterback. He's not in the backfield anymore. He's got to be able to hold that one high and tight because he can't pass it, obviously.
So another third down here for McKeesport. They've already converted on 2. Can they go 3 for 3 here? As we have a flag down initially, nothing going there. So we'll see what the call is. But as it stands, it will be 4th down for McKeesport.
I think it's going to go against McKeesport. I think it was illegal formation.
It did seem like a somewhat broken play, a high snap off of the bat.
Illegal shift, yep.
2 players moving at the snap. That penalty's declined. It's 4th down.
Yeah, saw someone on the far side, wasn't exactly sure, come over. And I think there was a guy on the right side here also in motion. 2 players in motion, can't have that happen, so that's the call for the illegal shift.
So 4th down now for McKeesport. Got a little blinded by the light there. Our crew turned on the light for when we stand up towards the camera. But we're good now, and now another penalty, another procedural penalty as Perryman is beside himself at quarterback. Looks like the ball was supposed to be snapped. It looked like everyone was on the same page except for the center there, Spencer.
Yeah, everybody but the center, as you sometimes will hear in the NFL, they'll call that on the false start, as that ball was just never snapped. It was a miscue between the quarterback and the center.
And that is a big deal because instead of a 4th and 6 where McKeesport was going to go for it, they now will elect to punt it away back to the Gators. So the Gators able to get that stop. They give up a couple 3rd down conversions, but bend don't break. And now Chris Livesey back deep in Gators territory to receive this punt. Good boot there. Livesey will take it. A flag comes in. Looks like a hold there on the Gators. Livesey able to get away. He's still going down the sidelines. This looks like it'll come back, though, as Livesey's pushed out towards the 40-yard line.
Holtzman punt, filled by number 6, Leonard Schroer.
A lot of penalties here early in this one, Spencer. No lack of laundry out there on the field.
Yeah, it's chippy. I mean, that's going to be the word we're going to be hearing all night. Both of these teams have been barking back and forth as if they were next-door neighbors' dogs. It's not going to be something that we'll see very clean. Like you said, a lot of laundry this evening for both teams.
The Gators have won the last 5 meetings between these 2 teams. Got to go back to 2016, the last time McKeesport.
Holding, number 22, the return team. That's half the distance from the end of the kick. 1st down, Gateway.
I will say real quick, it's nice to have the mic on the referee been working. We've had a couple games where that's not been the case, and the fact that we're able to hear exactly what the call is and who it is, too, is really nice.
Last week we got that going at home against Penn Trafford, but yeah, Spencer, you're right. We haven't had that luxury much of this season, so for 2 weeks in a row, able to not have to play detective. No Sherlock Holmes going on here.
Going to make sure to give the refs some AA batteries at halftime because I think he's going to be using that microphone a lot this evening. The refs are getting their money's worth.
So the Gators will have to start from their own 7-yard line. They'll have the length of the field to go to try and get to pay dirt. Talked about last time McKeesport won in this rivalry, 2016. A game that both fan bases likely remember quite vividly. It was 2016 in the semifinals, 41-38 walk-off win. As a quick pass out to Selby is completed. So a nice little pitch and catch there. That'll move the chains.
Number 17, Derek Selby.
Nice play design, Spencer. The Gators get out of the shadow of their own end zone with a quick little pitch and catch.
Yeah, it's been nice. Ahmad Knight, you see him playing deep. He doesn't want to get burned deep, so they're just giving that 5-6 yard route, cut to the corner, or cut to the sidelines, and it's been working for Gateway.
It has been there. They'll hand it off to Reynolds here. He stood up immediately, nowhere to go. So that'll be a loss there on the play as knifing in. Looks like Devin Long.
Reynolds, the ball carrier.
Take another look at the replay here. Gang of McKeesport players in. Got number 51.
Brings up 2nd down and 15.
It was actually number 9, Shane McGraw, first one to get there, not number 8. But again, like you said, 4 or 5 McKeesport players were there.
Amp Bruton in the backfield. McGraw is having himself quite a first quarter as we are down to the final 60 or so ticks left on the clock here in quarter number 1. Gators with the opening drive field goal. Now we get another flag as both of these teams struggling with procedural penalties.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
That's a delay of game call. And Spencer, I mean, at this point, this is game number 8 for the Gators. For both of these teams, you just can't have this happening at this point in the season.
Haven't seen too many delay game calls for really either team. We saw almost one from McKeesport, or any team, I should say, compared to Gateway or their opponents. We saw one from McKeesport, and then I think 2 now for Gateway.
So the Gators now 2nd and 20 at their own 8. Birch able to get away momentarily, but he stood up and thrown down. Able to stay on his feet somewhat before he's tossed out of bounds. And again, a whole crew of Tigers there. Take a look, able to evade the first would-be tackler, but that was about it.
Yeah, Courtney Dunn, the first one to get there in the backfield, and kind of just broke up that play where Birch just had to roll out and hope for the best. And number 12, Eastman, was there for McKeesport. And here we are, 3rd and 20, deep in their own field for the Gators.
Ahmad Knight also getting in on the action there on the tackle. And so we'll see Gators able to get this one off right before the end of the quarter. It should be the last play of the first quarter. Gonna go deep. This one, a man wide open. It's Harper, and he can't catch the ball. Drops the ball at the 40-yard line. That one just a little underthrown. And Spencer, if Birch can put just a little more oomph on that one, I think Harper has a clear path to the end zone. Take another look.
He has a clear path to the end zone, but first thing you got to do is catch it. But a good thing for Harper, though, there's a penalty on the offense, so that play wouldn't have mattered anyway. That's what the referee just mentioned.
I'm sorry, there's no one time down, the penalty's declined. That's the end of the first quarter.
So the penalty being declined, that'll be the end of the first quarter, and it'll be 4th and long from the 14-yard line. The Gators will have to punt this one away. It'll give McKeesport good field position. And so, Spencer, we're 12 minutes into this one. A 38-yard field goal by Cole Plaskin, our only scoring to speak of. What are your thoughts after the first 12?
It's a lot what we expected. It's very defensive-minded between both these teams. McKeesport has been in the backfield of the Gators every single play. Birch has been running for his life on passing plays. On the other side, McKeesport, they haven't been able to run their flexbone offense as well as they would like to. And I think that's a big difference now as the quarterback has to go into the air a little bit for McKeesport. And really, neither side is working right now.
So far, a defensive stalemate between two talented teams. The Gators strike first. They have the only points on the board in this one as the Gators look to extend this winning streak over a local rival to 6 consecutive games. And the Gators now faced with a 4th and long. They'll travel the length of the field. They'll be down here going left to right across the field. It's Cole Plaskin going to have to be very careful here. They're going to have to get a good snap off, as it is officially 4th and 13 from the 13-yard line. Plaskin going to be in his own end zone. And we've seen in the past the Gators have some low snaps, and you've got to be careful, Spencer. If punter goes down, touches that knee, gives himself up, that's automatically ruled down in high school and college. So they're going to have to be real careful here on 4th and 13. High snap. Plaskin able to pull it down and get this one away. It's a good but wobbly kick. It'll go over Boyd's head, and it'll take a very generous bounce for the Gators. So that one will be down at about the 37-yard line. So a nice punt from Plaskin. He flips the field, but McKeesport still with half-decent field position as they'll start officially at the 38-yard line.
Yeah, good punt from Plaskin. A sigh of relief. He wasn't really, I don't think that's his best punt that he's ever had, but he got a really, really good bounce and was able to flip the field exactly what he needed to do.
And credit to Plaskin. He had to go up and get that one. That snap was a little high. So Plaskin got his hands up, snagged that one. And so McKeesport now with their second offensive possession. Both teams now have touched the ball twice. We'll see if McKeesport can create anything from this one. They got stopped the last time out. Short run play here. They'll get this one up just shy of the 40-yard line, so not much going there once again for the Tigers.
And maybe a yard on that flexbone offense. Just running it up the gut. but the defense for Gateway has been there, that interior line right there for them.
Matthew Brooks on the stop. Brooks having an excellent season. Roberson Louis Jean also in on the tackle. And so Boyd had the one burst that looked like a surefire touchdown and got called back due to a hold. Still ended up gaining a first down on that play, but other than that, the Tigers offense has been contained.
Back to the snap. McKeesport used their second timeout of the first half.
The Tigers used their second timeout. I thought the Gators might have, because you saw on the near side of the field here some confusion in the defensive backfield. There were 3 receivers and only 2 DBs on that side of the field for the Gators, but it was McKeesport that needed to talk things over.
Still 11 minutes remaining in this second quarter, and McKeesport has already used 2 of their 3 timeouts for the first half.
1-800-533-UPMC.
Both of those really on kind of miscommunication, tough plays for McKeesport, who has been having issues. Saw a delay game earlier as well from them, so don't know how easy it is to hear down there between everybody, because we saw the false start, everybody false starting because the center didn't snap the ball, so it's tough down there.
Certainly a heck of a crowd here on hand for this one tonight. Looking at the home side stands, they are just about filled to capacity. You have some people standing along the side, so it's a great crowd here tonight for both of these clubs. Good coaching matchup as well. 2 coaches that have spent 7 years at the helm. Don Hall, 63-17 and 7 years at Gateway. It's a winning percentage about 79%, and then on the other side, it's Matt Miller, 57-18 in his time at McKeesport. Perryman gonna get dragged down in the backfield. He was pulling it up like he was gonna pass it, but ran out of time and got dragged down by Ricariel.
Another look at this one again. There's 4 Gateway players in the backfield. Ricariel coming off the left side was able to get there first and just trip up the quarterback, Perryman, from McKeesport. And again, that passing game hasn't looked, they haven't been able to do anything because they've had pressure in the backfield, almost similar to what we've seen in the last drive for the Gators.
Spencer, they haven't thrown the ball yet.
That too, actually, there's a reason why we haven't seen any offense in terms of passing, because they haven't thrown the ball yet. They haven't been able to.
Not enough time. Gators doing a good job. Both teams doing a good job getting a pass rush. And what looks like it might be another passing down here on 3rd and long. And again, it's pressure. And again, it's Ricariel. And the quarterback goes down again. Perryman with nowhere to go. Remy Bose came in to deliver the final blow. And it's going to be 4th and a country mile for McKeesport.
Empty set, so you knew they were going to be passing, but Perryman, I don't even think the guys got 5-10 yards down the field before Ricariel was right there to almost drag him down, but then Remy Bose was able to finish that one off.
So the Tigers, their calling card has been defense all season long. And I'm sure the Gators have taken some affront to that all the attention this week and all the publications around the city was on McKeesport, but the Gators defense has come to play. Punt here, that one's shanked out of bounds, and the Gators are going to have excellent field position as that one going to go out of bounds in their own territory. And so now the Gators will have the ball in McKeesport's territory to start this drive. Let's see where the official spot is. But Brad Birch and company won't have far to go to get themselves into field goal range, and not much further to get the ball into the end zone with 9:28 left here in the first half. That's
Caden Holtzman, who's punting, not really technically listed as a punter, but you have to assume he hasn't had to punt too many times this year, and Holtzman shanking that one. Tough situation, tough going of things. He had the hold on the run from Bobby Boyd, and then tough punt there, but good field position for the Gators. They need to strike here.
The best for either team tonight. They'll start at the 35-yard line, and Birch will operate in the gun. 3 receivers set with the option. He's going to keep it, pulled it out of the gut of Reynolds, who was able to spring him with a block there on the outside. Reynolds, or rather Birch, gets to the sidelines, but really wasn't able to turn that corner. So it'll be a minimal gain, just a few there for Brad Birch on first down.
Looked kind of weird there. You see number 2, Jaquan Reynolds, just kind of in front of Birch, and Birch pushing him forward, trying to figure out if who was actually supposed to get that ball. Was it supposed to be Reynolds, or was Birch made the initiative to keep it? Because Reynolds was kind of confused there. He didn't know what was going on.
Birch pulled that out awfully late and decided to call his own number. They'll officially mark it as a gain of 1. Now this time they're going to go with a quick play action. Harper has it this time after the drop. He comes up with this one, takes on multiple defenders and forces his way to the 20-yard line. That's going to be a gain of 14 and a fresh set of downs for Gateway.
That's good poise in the pocket from Birch, feeling the pressure from the left side, and he's just able to make that quick strike. As you see, he's going to take the hit right there as well, but a good throw. Harper right there, and extra yards on that one as well, as a couple players had to take Harper down.
18-yard line.
So the Gators officially at the 18 in the red zone on a second consecutive drive. They're going to go to the air again, going to go to the corner of the end zone, and that one's overthrown. Looking for Inez Jordan, who had a step. Good coverage there by Jameer Brown.
Yeah, one-on-one coverage with Brown, and you see that half a step. Brown is just a little bit late, but that ball be a yard or two too far, but not a bad throw from Birch. That's exactly where you want that ball. It's just a little too far.
So after the home run shot there, it'll bring up 2nd and 10. Again, a 3-receiver set, 2 to the right, 1 to the left. Birch with Reynolds. Play action fake. Going to go with the same play design the other sideline. The other corner of the end zone. That one, Harper kind of had to go up and play DB on that one. Although ironically, if Harper was playing DB, he normally comes down with those 7 interceptions on the season, but take another look, tip that one away so it wouldn't be intercepted.
Yeah, I'm on night, almost got that one, but you said Harper able to get one hand on it and maybe a finger or two, but couldn't haul it in, so he does what he needed to do there and just kind of tip it away. Here we go again for Gateway, 3rd and 10.
Gators trying to avoid having to settle for a 2nd consecutive field goal attempt. They have Reynolds wide open, and he's got it. The running back flare route out of the backfield, and Reynolds hauls it in for a touchdown.
What a throw by number 12, Bradley Birch. This is perfectly placed to Jaquan Reynolds, who, like you said, he just kind of flares out to the left, and watch on your screen. You see the underneath coverage from Jameer Brown, but there's no coverage over the top. Talking to Bobby Boyd, Brown and Boyd were kind of confused as to whose man that should have been. Perfectly thrown, and a good touchdown for the Gators.
Livesey with the hold, Plaskin with the kick. That one is up and good. And so it is a 10 spot on the board for the Gators here as the road team against McKeesport, and officially the most points that McKeesport has given up all season long. This is the first team that's gotten into double digits against them, as the Gators able to put together 2 scoring drives out of their first 3. That offense is starting to hum a little bit.
High School Athletic Department would like to thank Parkview Community Federal Credit Union for the continued support.
Some other marquee matchups across the WPIAL tonight that will keep you updated. The Gators fans going to be interested in, namely in the Big East Conference. You have 2 big matchups. You have Plum and Penn Trafford, 2 teams clinging on somewhat of life support to their playoff hopes. Plum would absolutely need to win both of these teams, really, to stay in that wild card discussion. The loser really is out of it. And then Franklin Regional and Hempfield, 2 of the top 3 teams. Franklin Regional still unblemished, the only undefeated team in conference play. Took down the Gators about a month ago. And so they have Hempfield and Penn Trafford to close the year. And so things starting to shake out, settle out a little bit. Gators return to conference play against Norwin next week in a game in which they would be heavily favored at home. So the Gators have a clear path, win, and you're in to the playoffs. So top 2 seeds are guaranteed. As once again, it's Boyd with the electric return. Here's Boyd over the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10, and he's gone. Flags are on the field, but there you see once again Boyd with that breakaway speed. But the Gators are motioning. I think this one, once again, Spencer, will be coming back.
Not 1, not 2, but 3 pieces of yellow are on the field, and I think you're right. I think this is going to come back. I saw a defender for Gateway, Ahmad Harris, saying he got hands in the face. I don't know if that's going to be the call or it's going to be a holding, but 9 times out of 10, a big run like that, it's going to be something on Gateway. Or, excuse me, McKeesport.
15-yard penalty, first down McKeesport.
So an illegal low block will be the call. That's been a point of emphasis for officials across the league. You look at headshots and you look at plays, taking out knees, things like that. Both of those areas have sort of been an emphasis across football at every single level. And McKeesport gets caught going low there.
That's a 12, potentially 14-point swing from McKeesport. They could have had 2 touchdowns here, but just penalties have been an issue in this one. They need to clean this up if they want to keep up with Gateway here, because the big plays are there. It's just a matter of these penalties, although you could make the argument the reason they have the big penalties is because, or the big plays is because of the penalties. But see how the offense sets up. But there's a lot of frustration in McKeesport right now, as I think we have another timeout. Yeah, the final timeout for McKeesport. They are definitely not on the same page, and there's a lot of frustration on that sideline.
Yeah, all 3 timeouts taken in the first 17 minutes and 15 seconds of this contest for McKeesport, as they have had a tough go of it here early, as the Gators looking every bit of a favorite in 5A, bringing the physicality, balanced play calling on offense. And they've put themselves in the driver's seat with a healthy 10-point lead here in half number 1. I want to thank everyone joining us both on YouTube and on the WPIAL High School Sports Network. It is 1st and 10 from the 25 officially. Now a little bit of running room. Here go the McKeesport Tigers going to the house. It's a house call, 75 yards. Jamil Perryman, no flags on the field. And there it is, Spencer, finally. Yeah, they take the timeout, they draw it up, Perryman executes. That's a 1-play drive for 6.
What a run for Perryman. We haven't really seen him hold the ball the last couple of plays, at least the last drive. They really went to Bobby Boyd that whole time, and this time Perryman keeps it himself, and he was gone for the touchdown. What a swing for McKeesport. After frustrations on their own sideline, they are now jubilation. After that touchdown, bring this one back within 1 score.
So now on to kick the extra point. Up and good, number 41 for the Tigers. That's Milton Campos, the senior kicker. And so the PAT good, a 7 spot on the board for the Tigers. They pull this back to just a 3-point game as both teams trading touchdowns here in the second quarter. .7:31 left here. So the wind taken out of the sails ever so slightly of the Gators, who were on cloud 9 there for a while. So a little adversity here as they'll get the ball back here with a chance to keep that offense humming after a short drive. They took over after a very short punt, had just 35 yards to go. It was an 18-yard touchdown pass to Jaquan Reynolds. Reynolds, as good as any back you'll see at the high school level at catching the ball out of the backfield. So it'll be Harper and Lewis back deep for the Gators. Campos will kick off.
Harper and number 4, Kenny Lewis.
Lewis had a decent return on the initial kickoff. It'll be Harper this time collecting it at the 10-yard line. Harper with a bit of running room himself. He's up over the 30, close to the 40. He'll be upended at about the 38-yard line, so the Gators will have decent field position. 1st and 10, a player down for McKeesport. Take another look here at the replays, trying to see who that is that's down. It's one of the players that look to make a tackle. I'm not sure if it's 8 or 3. I want to make sure we get this right before we alert anyone to a potential injury, but we do have a player down on the field for the McKeesport Tigers.
That was scary. I mean, he went, I don't know exactly who it was, but he went in with his head. Going in low on a tackle like that with your head is always extremely dangerous and extremely scary. Is have some bad situation here, but we'll see what happened there. I hope he's all right.
So take a look at the 4A Big 7 conference standings. The Tigers, the clear-cut favorite at the moment, 4-0. Laurel Highlands, Thomas Jefferson, Latrobe all in the mix, fighting for playoff positioning. And then Connellsville, Trinity, and Ringgold struggling a little bit here down the stretch, as we're getting a little more clarity here on what the playoff picture for all these classifications will look like. We talked about in 5A. As we look at the Gators schedule, they've got just the Norwin Knights remaining, and they'll travel close to downtown to take on Central Catholic at Dormont Stadium. That'll be a fun matchup, playoff tune-up for both squads. So the Gators, a victory against Norwin away from punching their ticket. On the other side, McKeesport still has 2 remaining games. And that Thomas Jefferson game at the bottom, Spencer, I see you pointing at it. TJ struggling a little bit this year. I mean, 4A is loaded. 5A has a lot of really good teams. I would argue that 4A might be the most top-heavy classification in terms of some really excellent teams.
Yeah, 4A is tough, and Thomas Jefferson, who I think won state, 2 years ago in 2020, is always a tough competition in the South Hills, but we'll see what that last matchup, that's a conference matchup between the Jaguars. That's home for McKeesport. We'll see how they play in that one.
So the injured players still being tended to down on the field. It is a beautiful evening here, 53 degrees. Winds at 5 miles an hour. The sun has been set for a little while now. Once you get sort of halfway into September, you don't really see the sun by kickoff anymore. And so clear skies, temperature will likely drop, but at the moment, don't need the gloves, just the hats right now and the jacket. So we'll take that. We've done games in October before that have been frigid. I know you and I did a game at Kiski a few years ago that was absolutely freezing. As we take a look at the 5A top 5, Bethel Park, the new #1 after they took down Upper St. Clair 27-14 last week. Gateway, after bumping out of the top 5 after the loss to Franklin Regional, has ascended back to #2. Pine Richland has put together a couple impressive wins in conference. They're taking on Shaler tonight at the 3 spot. Upper St. Clair and Peters Township with just 1 blemish as well, as that Allegheny Conference in 5A looks to have some real talented teams that could go the distance. That looks like that and the Big East will be the conferences that likely have 3 apiece. As we take a look at that Allegheny 6 conference, Bethel Park 2-0, Peters with 3 wins, and Upper St. Clair. Those look like 3 teams that should be able to punch their ticket to the postseason. And Spencer, was that Jameer Brown that hopped up and ran off? Am I seeing that correctly?
I saw Jameer Brown running. I didn't know if he was the or if he was the injured player there, but again, good news is to see him sitting up, and then he's off the field under his own power regardless of whoever it was, which is a good sign for McKeesport. And again, that was almost a really scary injury right there for the Tigers.
Yeah, you never want to see a player lead with that head. They've really tried to get away from the spearing plays.
Yep.
And certainly there's some danger to the player you're tackling, but even more so, putting that head down can create some real neck injuries. Gators will go to the air here on 1st down, but Birch gonna get wrapped up and dropped. Sort of tripped over the defensive lineman as he tried to spin away. Dimitri Brooks will get credit with the sack, and a couple others in the backfield. Shane McGraw continuing to play well. Devin Long, 51 for McKeesport as well.
51, Spell.
So that'll create 2nd and long. That'll push the Gators back a good bit after a nice return by Dallas Harper. It'll be 2nd and 17 from the 30-yard line. Birch once again with the pass. Once again, running, trying to get rid of it quickly. He's going to take a hit at the end of that one. He'll bounce back up, but not after getting walloped.
Number 7, Inez Jordan, falls incomplete. Brings up a 3rd down.
It was Dimitri Brooks coming from behind, and then another player from McKeesport up front as well. In fact, Birch was able to get that off was impressive, but just behind his intended target. But again, 3rd and 17 deep in their own side of the field for the Gators.
Difficult situation. See what they draw up here. Coach Hall and company. Birch in the gun. He'll go to the air again and again. No time to do anything. And the Gators, 3 plays, 3 sacks. That McKeesport defense needed maybe a little time to boot up here in the cold weather, but they are cooking now.
And it was impressive. They only rushed 4. Only 4 guys for McKeesport going there. And we saw 2 pressure Birch back in the backfield, and then Courtney Dunn, who had spun away from his block, who was right at the line of scrimmage, was able to take him down.
And so the returnman Boyd will have his heels close to his own 40-yard line. Plaskin punts this one away. It's going to be a fair catch taken at about the 44-yard line. So again, great field position for McKeesport as they have it out towards midfield. They'll bring that offense back on the field that needed all of 1 play, a 75-yard touchdown run. The keeper by Jamil Perryman. He took it from coast to coast pretty darn quick.
1st and 10 Tigers on their own 43-yard line.
We got a score out of town. Score Plum strikes first against Penn Trafford. 7-0 in a game of 2-1 and 2 teams fighting to stay in the mix in the Big East. As we said, they're playing tonight. It's a short carry there by Boyd, doesn't get a whole lot. Then Hempfield and Franklin Regional as well. Norwin playing out of conference along with the Gators as they host North Allegheny.
Boyd on ball carrier. Brought down by number 11, Harper.
So Demetrius Harper kind of stretching out his foot there. A little after of that play, just kind of stretching out his right foot. Might have heard it there, making the tackle.
McKeesport, 46-yard line.
So 2nd and 7 from the 46. A nice burst there up towards midfield. We'll create a 3rd and short here as we continue to wind. About 5 minutes left in the first half.
Boyd on ball carrier.
Call it 3rd and 3 officially, right at the 50-yard line.
4 brings up a 3rd and 3 from the 50-yard line.
Perryman going to keep this one himself, fakes it. Looks like he got close to the front sticks there. We'll see if they give it to him. They will. That'll be a 1st down. Again, another Tiger slow to get up initially, but take another look here. Remy Bowes in on the tackle.
And nice play by Perryman. Just had a little bit of hesitation, making Dallas Harper stay out there in case of the pitch. He's able to get that extra yard or 2 to push them forward for the 1st down.
So it is a fresh set of downs for the Tigers as they are now in Gators territory at the 47-yard line. They'll motion and then hand it off to the up man, and now a crease and 1 man to beat. Off to the end zone, touchdown! Into the end zone is Larry Gibson, 47 yards, and McKeesport for the first time is out in front.
And that's all it takes with this offense, that flexbone offense. You just don't know who it's going to be given to. This time it's Gibson, who was on the left side, and he was able to get by the interior line, break free, and then 1 man to beat. And he's able to get past Inez Jordan for the touchdown. Another great run by a player not named Boyd for McKeesport, which has been impressive for McKeesport and how they're able to have offense for several different facets.
Campos' kick is up and good. So 10 points to start by the Gators, 14 unanswered by the Tigers. They now lead for the first time tonight with 4:08. The Gators searching for answers on both sides of the ball. It was an excellent start by Gateway, and now 2 long rushing touchdowns allowed. And Spencer, they're trying that offense back out there. They got to give Birch some time to throw. 3 straight sacks on 3 straight plays.
Yeah, Birch hasn't been able to throw the ball, and that's the problem, is that when you're trying to make that run work, you're trying to set up for the pass with the run, but when you have no passing, you're getting only 3 guys in the back, or 3 guys being pressured from McKeesport. They're bringing 3 guys, I should say, and they're able to get to the quarterback. That's not a good sign of an offense that can move the ball down the field, no matter who is back there for the quarterback, and no matter what routes are being run. If you can't get open within 3 seconds, like Birch has been having problems with, you're not going to be able to move the ball.
So we'll see what adjustments the offense has made, and if they can shore up that pass protection. Campos will kick off again. Gators have had a couple stellar kick returns here. They've had decent field position on most of their drives. They've gotten backed up in a hurry. As a penalty here, looks like offsides, as that one was a squib kick. And the up man, Chris Livesey, takes it, but the play blown dead. So that one will be re-kicked. Guilty party there is Shane McGraw, who's had himself quite a night thus far defensively for the Tigers, but he jumps a little early there on the kick team. And so that'll back up McKeesport for the kick. They'll have to kick it now from the 35 instead of the 40.
Another penalty for McKeesport. This time it's on the special teams, and it's kind of been their Achilles heel right now in terms of playing. They've done pretty well in the rush. They've done well on defense, but they've given up a lot of penalties. In this one, it's going to be a squib kick.
A high bounce. It'll be taken by Harper. Harper turns on the Jets. He's able to get to the corner up over the 40, hurdles a man, and is out at the 45-yard line. So a nice return there. The Gators take advantage of the squib kick, and the Tigers being pushed back a little bit. Now they have excellent field position to start, with a chance to try and take the lead into halftime.
Brought down by number 3. And one night.
I always like to give credit to guys that get hurdled but still make the tackle. As Inez Jordan was trying to get over Ahmad Knight, not able to. You take another look at it. He cuts out to the left side, and then here comes Knight on the right side of your screen. And watch this hurdle right there. He tried to, thought Knight was going to go a little bit lower, but did not. And he still makes the tackle, but a good start and a good return for Jordan, again, off that penalty.
So 1st and 10, they will hand it off to Reynolds, and once again, absolutely nothing happening at the line of scrimmage for the Gators, as getting into the backfield and blowing that one up was Amp Bruton, the 6-foot, 200-pound junior defensive lineman. Take a look.
I mean, nothing that Gateway could do right there. They would have been, that's the equivalent of just taking a knee. It took that long in terms of just losing a couple of yards there on the run. Nothing that backfield can do for the Gators, and they need a lot of help right now.
3.5 minutes and winding. They'll go to the ground game again. It's Reynolds again. Reynolds with a bit of a crease. He gets back up towards midfield. So he gets those 2 yards back and a few more. And it'll be 3rd and about 8 here for the Gators.
Hey, Reynolds going to the right side is a lot of pressure from the left. And they do get a couple of yards, but again, you can't take a couple of yards. You either need a big break here, which McKeesport's been in the backfield. You're hard to break free when you do that, or a long pass here, good pass, but you can't pass the ball when the Tigers are just all over you in the backfield.
See if McKeesport brings the blitz, and if so, do the Gators try and set up the quick screen to counteract that blitz? It will be a pass, a quick throw out, and Inez Jordan going to get dragged down in the backfield. Tried to take a step back to create some separation, but sure tackling there. And who else but Boyd? But now penalty flag comes out, and my goodness, Spencer, that's the 2nd time tonight taunting is going to cost McKeesport.
I think this is going to go against Boyd. He was talking to the bench of the Gateway Tigers. Again, that play was right in front of the bench for Gateway. We'll see what the call is, but I think it is taunting.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 5 for the defense. The 15-yard penalty, first down, Gateway.
And boy, that is a killer for McKeesport. And for the Gators, it gives them new life. Will they be able to capitalize on it after they had been stopped on 3rd down? And as Jordan not able to pick up any yardage there, that'll move the Gators into Tigers territory.
And I know Boyd is happy. I know he's fired up. Talk with your game and not with your mouth, because you're giving Gateway a game if you talk with your mouth.
So that's the second unsportsmanlike penalty against the Tigers, as they'll go to Reynolds once again. Reynolds looks like he was able to get to the 40. It's a gain of maybe 2. That's no talking from either team after this play. Stop there by Devin Long, the 5'11" senior.
At the Tiger 39-yard line.
So ball at the 39. It will be 2nd and 8. And we are down to the last 96 seconds here. So the Gators likely going to be the last ones to touch the ball here with a chance to score to go ahead in this one. And it is going to be a quick screen to Inez Jordan. Jordan with a little bit of room to run. He's able to get away from the first would-be tackler that is upended about the 33-yard line. And so not quite enough for the first down, but it'll be a 3rd and very manageable.
The fact that the fact that Birch was able to get that one to Jordan, Jordan's able to get those yards after the catch was impressive. You saw Bobby Boyd coming from the left side. He had nobody touching him on the block. They were able to make the catch.
Perryman with a nice tackle there. They'll go with Reynolds. Reynolds is going to be stood up back towards the 35. They will not blow it dead until a little push there by the Gators, but not going to be enough. It's going to bring up 4th down. The Gators will call a timeout with 44.8 seconds left, as this is likely 4-down territory at your own 38, less than a minute. We'll see what Coach Hall and company draw up.
Called their first time out of the half. Please reset the game clock to 47 seconds.
So we'll get a few seconds back on the clock. The Gators will have an opportunity here on 4th down to keep this drive alive. And the Gators, we talked about McKeesport blew all of its timeouts. So if they get the ball back here, they're going to have another streaky play, another long run. Going to have to break one because they don't have the opportunity to work the field. Spencer, if you're the Gators, good job by Don Hall. He has all 3 timeouts in the back pocket here with less than a minute left. Burns one there with 47 seconds left. And now if you're able to convert, you can call another timeout. You have options. You can use the whole field because you've done a good job keeping those timeouts. Yeah,
it's good clock management by Gateway, but again, if you're McKeesport, in the sense that you get the ball back here, you're just running it up the gut. That's pretty much what you've been doing. So if you get that play where you're able to break free, you can hopefully get down there and spike it maybe. But other than that, I mean, your whole design on offense is just running up the gut. So you kind of have the situation where if you don't have the timeouts, you're kind of just stuck with the clock running.
So here we go, 4th and 3 after a 1-yard loss on 3rd down. Reynolds flares out. Birch with a little bit of time. He's going to let this one go, and that one is incomplete. Unable to connect there. And so McKeesport will take over with about 41 seconds left as we take another look. Trying to force that one in there. Looks like Livesey was behind the play, had a chance. Looked like he was going for Harper there. Livesey unable to come up with the tip ball.
I have to assume it's by design, or it's not by design, but I have yet to see Bradley Birch in the pocket being able to make the throws he needs to. He has to roll out. He has to scramble on every single play for Gateway. Give credit to the Tigers who have been applying pressure and making Birch take these throws that he might not really want to be throwing.
So 41 seconds left here in half number 1. McKeesport has 66 yards to go to pay dirt. No timeouts. They'll hand it off, and that one will be stood up. Boyd going nowhere fast. And we'll see if the Tigers try and hustle back to the line. They will. As they have time for maybe 1, maybe 2 more plays here in the first half. Clock continues to wind. 24 seconds. Now the pace slowing a little bit for McKeesport, as it looks like they'll be content to take this lead into the half. Perryman pitches it at the last moment, but again, that's not going to result in much, a loss there. And that will take us to halftime. Our halftime score, McKeesport, 2 second quarter touchdowns. They lead 14-10 after a strong start by the Gators. And so, Spencer, thoughts after now 24 minutes?
McKeesport has been applying pressure to Gateway on the Gateway offense all night, except for that first drive. That was the only drive that Gateway was able to really move down the field. Birch has not been able to be comfortable in the pocket. The run game really isn't working. That offensive line needs to help Birch out a lot more in this second half. And I think for McKeesport on the other side, they're playing really well on both sides of the ball, but they need to clean up in terms of the penalties. They're giving Gateway yards and giving Gateway the opportunity. They almost had the opportunity to either take the lead late in this game because of penalties. It's plays like that. And again, penalties have been the difference. There's 2 touchdowns that were taken away because of penalties for McKeesport. This could have been a wide open for the Tigers, but instead it's only 4 points.
2 unsportsmanlike penalties, holding calls on long returns and on a long run by Boyd that would have resulted in a touchdown. Instead, we have ourselves a close game here at the half, 14-10. Our scoring really quick before we throw it to the Trib Live High School Sports Network halftime show. It was a 38-yard field goal by Cole Plaskin, then an 18-yard touchdown pass from Brad Birch to Jaquan Reynolds. And then just after that, it was a one-play drive as Perryman taking it to the house 75 yards, and then another second quarter touchdown as it was Gibson going 47 yards for the Tigers. All PATs good for both teams. It's 14-10 as we head into the half. We will kick it over to the Trib Live High School Sports Network halftime show. And for Spencer Witt, I'm Vince Russo. We'll be back in about 20 minutes or so with half number 2 right here live from McKeesport, Pennsylvania.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome to the field the 2022 Gateway High School Marching Band. The band is excited to perform their 2022 competitive show entitled Headphones On. Tonight's performance features Spirit in the Sky by Norman Greenbaum, the Marvel Studios Fanfare by Brian Tyler, Father and Son by Yusuf Cat Stevens, and Mr. Blue Sky by Electric Light Orchestra. And now, the Gateway Music Department is proud to present drum majors Riley McDonough, Brandon Baker, Landon Moore, and the Gateway High School Marching Band.
Live High School Sports Network halftime show. For Spencer Witt, I'm Vince Russo. We'll be back in about 20 minutes or so with half number 2 right here live. About ready to get underway here for half number 2 at George L. Smith Field here at McKeesport High School. One half in the books, 14-10 our score. The Gators with a quick 10 points and then a second quarter dominated by the Tigers. 2 long rushing touchdowns by Perryman and Gibson. That's where we sit here going into the second half. I'm Vince Russo, Spencer Witt alongside. We're filling in for Adam Gusky tonight, and braving a little bit of cold weather, but it's been a great game thus far.
It has been a good game, and this is what we expected, I think, for the most part. We expected hard-nosed football from both sides, and we expected very defensive-minded, and only a handful of touchdowns between both teams. So, yeah, it's gonna be the same thing, and I think there's gonna be a lot more extracurricular activities going late into this game, and I think we're gonna see a close one.
Yeah, we talked about it at the end of the half. 2 unsportsmanlike penalties against McKeesport, prolonged drives for the Gators, a ton of penalties on both sides. The officials have had their work cut out for them tonight. Spencer, I think Gators faithful are most interested. The offense looked efficient in the first quarter and a part of the second, and then it all seemed to go backwards in a hurry.
Yeah.
Tons of pressure. Birch, no time to do anything. What needs to change in this second half for the Gators to be able to get that offense back in rhythm?
Oh, I talked earlier, I think the defense or the offensive line really needs to step up. Unfortunately, they have not done that for a large part of that second quarter. But I think, you know, you kind of start running the ball up the gut a little bit. You really force McKeesport to kind of keep inside because they've got guys out on the outsides that are really crashing in, and that's the big thing, is making Birch scramble out because he's got pressure from the one side. I think if you can kind of create some offense inside, you can kind of open it up a little bit in the passing lane.
See if the Gators try and take shots downfield. Birch has not had enough time to allow receivers to get through their routes and to get the ball down the field. They have had a little success with the bubble screen between Harper and Inez Jordan, but nothing consistent in that second quarter, and McKeesport was able to capitalize on that, take over on downs, and 2 quick strike offensive touchdowns running the ball, and boy, did they look great running the football in that second quarter.
Oh, yeah, McKeesport, I mean, they run the ball to perfection. They've shown it against every single opponent that they played this year, and they're showing it against a good defense for Gateway. Do not discredit the Gateway Gators. This is not a bad defense by any stretch of the imagination. McKeesport's just running all over them really, really well. We saw that earlier in the season. Sometimes Gateway would struggle with that. Other times they wouldn't. Tonight, they're actually doing pretty well, I think. It's just those big breaks, those big, long rushing touchdowns and rushing yards from McKeesport that have been the difference.
The teams are back on the field, and we are ready to get things kicked off here for our second half. Fresh 12 minutes on the clock. Play 2 more quarters, and then overtime if needed. We've already seen more points than I think a lot of people expected in this game. These 2 defenses average combined allowing about 14 total points a game. Certainly the stat that jumps out, McKeesport has allowed just 2.7 per. And so the Gators already with 10 points in that first half have scored more points in a single game than anyone has against the Tigers all season. A low line drive kick will trail toward the pylon. McKeesport will pick it up there, and a short return just past the 10-yard line is Boyd, the super talented senior Bobby Boyd. I think he thought that ball was going to trail out of bounds, and you look, Spencer, he kind of got to a moment where he goes, oh shoot, I got to return this.
Yeah, that's what you do, though, when you have a spiraling ball like that and it's going towards the sidelines. You kind of wait. Hopefully it goes out because it'll be a flag, but instead Boyd realizes he has to pick that up right by the pylon and only gets a handful of yards. So good kickoff for Gateway, and McKeesport's got a lot of ground that they've got to make up here to get themselves another touchdown.
They will start at their own 12-yard line. So the Gators going to pin their ears back, try and contain this triple option, and a good start there on first down, a minimal gain as that ball handed to Boyd. Now they're taken by Perryman as he dives forward. You'll see there, lost track of him for a second. He's able to knife towards about the 15-yard line, call it a gain of 3 on first down.
And that's a flexbone offense. You just don't know who's going to be taking that ball. Is it Perryman? Is it Boyd? Is it Gibson? It could be anything. They've got those running backs to the left and right of them as well, so they're able to go with either the option, the triple option, the running back to run up the middle. So it's tough as Gateway Gator to figure out who has the ball.
Motion man, they'll hand this one off. Rather, it's kept at the last moment. It's Perryman once again. He puts on the afterburners. Livesey can't bring him down. And now it's a foot race to the end zone. And it is one that Perryman is going to win. Another long touchdown, 85 yards, and the Gators look stunned.
I literally just talked about it 2 seconds prior to this. Look at all the Gators. They're stacked the box. They thought it was 5. Bobby Boyd, who was running with it, but Perryman broke out to the left side. Livesey, like you said, couldn't bring him down, and Perryman's got a lot of speed as he was able to outrun Kenny Lewis for the touchdown. Again, it's another long run for the Tigers that were the difference.
PAT up and good. It is now 21 consecutive for the Tigers. And you talk about McKeesport and Jamil Perryman on his 2 touchdown runs, 160 yards just on the 2 touchdown runs in total.
Insane, and you got to think he probably has more rushing yards than passing yards. Overall, I don't even think he has a pass yet today, which is incredible to think about as well. We saw him line up in the shotgun earlier when the flexbone offense wasn't working for McKeesport. And that's kind of what Gateway had really going for them defensively, but now McKeesport is able to get the offense that they want. They are controlling the tempo and they're controlling this game.
3 unanswered touchdowns, all on the ground for McKeesport, exactly how they want to execute. A team that was forced in that first quarter to drop back, and Perryman was sacked multiple times, but now they have created mass confusion. And the Gators just losing track of Perryman there for the 2nd time tonight, as we talked about. 2 touchdowns, totaling 160 yards on just those 2 carries alone. Also a 47-yard touchdown for Larry Gibson. And so now just 67 seconds into this one, the Gators will take the squib kick here. This one bounces over. It's loose. Harper able to pick it up after it bounces off Livesey's hands. And now Harper trying to scan his options. He's just going to dive down at around the 20-yard line. And so the Tigers able to contain that squib kick. Spencer is a little dangerous there for the Gators. Livesey almost gets that one through his paws, and luckily Harper there to scoop it up quickly.
And it takes another really freaky bounce right between the 30 and 25 we saw before, where Inez Jordan was able to get to it. But that's the best part about that squib kick, is that's a live ball. It's always a live ball, and it always could take a crazy bounce. And I'm surprised more teams don't go with that, especially if they have a kicker that kind of struggles getting the ball past the 10-yard line like McKeesport has here. No disrespect to the kicker, but as long as it works, it works. And right now, Gateway's only at the 20.
So they'll hand it off here. It's Reynolds. Reynolds able to find a nice hole there and dive forward to about the 24-yard line. So a moderate gain on 1st down. And Spencer, you think, did they watch the film from the Plum game with the multiple onside kicks and some of the issues that the Gators have had with upmen fielding kicks this year?
Their special teams for Gateway has been an issue. They might have even watched our broadcast on the YouTube live streams from the past couple of games and had shown that Gateway has struggled when it comes to fielding these kicks.
So 2nd and 6 from their own 24. They'll go to Reynolds again. Reynolds again, able to get up close to the 30, close to 1st down yardage. It'll be 3rd and short, excuse me. Call it 3rd and 2.
And you see Reynolds again running it up the gut, because that offensive line is going to have to step up and stop them internally in order to open up the passing lane outside for guys like Harper and Inez Jordan.
Feels like a big 3rd down for the Gators, trying to keep that offense on the field. They'll go with Reynolds once again. Reynolds with a nice hole. Reynolds fighting up over the 35, close to the 40-yard line. That's going to be a 1st down and more, and the Gators able to exhale. The offense has found a little bit of rhythm here.
Yeah, and some really good blocking upfield as well. Give credit where credit's due. Jacob Santos, 74, a nice block upfield, and able to get Reynolds a couple more yards, and you need this if you're Gateway right now, especially after that big touchdown from the Tigers.
Gators trying to take some momentum back here. They'll hand it off, a draw play to Reynolds. Reynolds able to bounce off the first tackler and drive his way up toward the 45. So a nice 5-yard gain there on 1st down. for the ball carrier, Reynolds.
Reynolds just keep moving his feet, keep going. Another good block there. 54, Louis Douglas able to shield the defender away from Reynolds and open up the hole for the running back kid a couple more yards. 2nd and 5 now.
See if the Gators mix in a little play action pass here on 2nd and 5.
Have to wonder if they try maybe take a deep shot here, see if those DBs are kind of cheating up a little bit.
They will. And they'll get this one completed up over the 45, down inside the 42-yard line. That's Selby again, who's become a comfortable option for Birch. The sophomore has become a pretty sure-handed receiver for the Gators.
This is very, very familiar. We saw the first drive for Gateway where they were able to run a little bit, and then they have those curl routes, get a couple yards, kind of spread the DBs back. The DBs are playing deep. They don't want to give up any deep balls. And Gateway's moving the ball, though, with that.
Down to the 43 of McKeesport. Now Birch on the run out toward the sidelines. That one is completed. And it looks like it'll be a loss, though, overall, as Malachi Moore out in the flat. Maybe that's an instance where Birch maybe just wants to throw that one away.
And almost, obviously Moore's not going to want to drop that ball, but it almost would have been better if he had just kind of knocked it down. He knew falling away from it, he's not going to get any yards on it, but yeah, like I said, it's negative yardage on that one in 2nd and 12.
Birch going to take another shot to Harper. That one was sniffed out immediately, and so it'll bring up a 3rd and long situation. Looks like Harper may have gotten the yardage back that Moore lost the play before, but I think they're going to mark it as no gains. You take a look, able to just get back. So about 3rd and 11 here at the 44-yard line.
Yeah, like you said, wide receiver screen where it's designed where the offensive line peels away, but McKeesport read that well, and they had 2 guys right there on Harper, and nothing that the line could do to block anyone for the Gators. So in what will be a passing situation here for the Gators, it's 3rd and 11. Birch a little bit of time. He'll set up the screen to Reynolds. Reynolds able to make a few miss. He'll fight his way down to about the 40-yard line, but not a whole lot going there. And so the Gators got away from the run there, went all heavy pass, and that's going to come back to bite them a little bit. Gets snuffed out. Now we'll see if we get the pooch punt from Birch or if we see the Gators roll the dice here.
The Tiger 40-yard line.
Gators might be afraid of giving that ball right back to McKeesport as they have just been rolling on offense. See what they draw up here. They'll fake the handoff, play action. Birch running out of time, just throws this one away. That's going to be incomplete. That's a turnover on downs.
Birch's pass.
And now the defense will have to take over. McKeesport will get the ball at the 40-yard line.
Yeah, Birch in the pocket. Had a little bit of time, but really good coverage from McKeesport. Nobody open for the Gators, and Birch checked his options, but there was just nothing there. So like you said, he kind of just heaved it over there, hoping maybe for a prayer, but unfortunately for the Gators, that prayer was not answered, and it's turnover on downs.
So the Gators able to move the ball a little bit, but they will get stopped on downs as they were able to go about 40 yards on that drive. Took it from their own 20 to McKeesport's 40. That's where things will stop as we're about halfway through the 3rd quarter here. And now this feels like when an equally important drive here. The Tigers have a chance to really take control of this game for the Gators. They could really use a turnover. Dallas Harper a little bit nullified the ball hawk when they're playing a team that really doesn't pass it whatsoever. They're a 1st down carry by Gibson, not going to go very far. Take another look.
It's a must stop, I think, for the Gators on this drive, especially as McKeesport has been moving. You, at the very least, cannot have another one where McKeesport breaks away for 50, 60-yard run for a touchdown and really deflate the Gators emotionally and get the offense right back on the field after they have struggled. They might be out of breath after that last drive.
So 2nd and 7, close to midfield. They'll time that well. Ahmad Harris had a jump on it, but they'll get a pitch out. A Nice tackle there by Leonard Sherrod. Brings down the ball carrier Boyd, but not before he gets up close to the 50-yard line. Mark him down at the 49, and it'll bring up third and short.
That's what's so nice about that option is that no play is really truly broken. Even if a defender gets into the backfield, you have the several options. So if he goes for the up man, if he goes for the quarterback, you pitch it out. You have those options, and it's well played by Jamil Perryman, who is able to read that and stay calm under pressure and make the pitch.
Perryman running the offense efficiently as he settles under center for 3rd and 1 at the 49-yard line. He's just going to dive forward. Now we have
Prior to the snap,
stoppage.
McKeesport used their first time out of the half.
That'll be a timeout from McKeesport. Looked like they had everything lined up and set up how they wanted it. And they're going to take a timeout here to talk this one over. And Coach Matt Miller not afraid to call the timeouts. He used all 3 of his before we reached the 7-minute mark in the second quarter. And now, just 7.5 minutes into this third quarter, they've already taken their first.
Yeah, it's been interesting, and Matt Miller, head coach for the Tigers, taking that timeout is kind of deflating momentum a little bit there. McKeesport was moving the ball a little bit, but kind of settling things down. Maybe he read the play, didn't like what he was seeing, so they decided to take the timeout. I don't think the play clock was running out. They got the snap off right when they called timeout too, so I don't think that was the issue. But again, a 3rd and 1 here for McKeesport. Big play for the Tigers.
They looked like they were going to go with the quarterback sneak. We'll see if they go that route again. Gateway is stacked to the box. And that ball is out. It's on the ground. And the Gators are motioning as if they have it. Regardless, it's going to be short of a first down. It looks like McKeesport dove back on it, so nearly a very costly mistake. And now, if you're McKeesport, decision-making time, do you try and play keep away from the Gators and keep this ball, or do you punt it away and force a Gators offense that was starting to click a little bit to go the length of the field against you, and it looks like they will bring out the punt team.
Remember that play if this one becomes close. A bad snap, fumbling that ball on 3rd down. McKeesport will line up for the punt.
Chris Livesey, the return man, with his heels at his own 21-yard line. This punt is off, trailing toward the sidelines. McKeesport will get a decent bounce. That'll go out right around the 20-yard line. They'll mark it officially at the 22. It'll be 78 yards to pay dirt for the Gators as they take over with their second possession of this second half. Scores from around the conference, the 2 big conference matchups on hand. Penn Trafford has taken control right before halftime. That game started at 7:30, so they're a little behind us. Penn Trafford up 21-7 now. And Spencer, don't look now, but I think Franklin Regional might be for real. Either that or Hempfield really has been exposed since the Gateway game. But 42-14 at the half for that one. Franklin Regional on their way to 4-0. Here, the Gators in non-conference. Brad Birch going to hang on to it himself. He's able to make a few miss. He's still getting blocks downfield. He gets hit towards the sidelines. And he's going to gain about 14 yards there. It's a nice designed, or not designed, rather, just sort of pulling it down and didn't see anything downfield, so he called his own number, picks up the first down.
Yeah, really nice play by Birch. Easily the best play we've seen. He gets this block here as well from number 3, Malachi Moore, to get that first down for the Gators. That extra couple of yards was the difference right there.
And a heads-up play by Moore, not blindsiding, but squaring up the defender and laying an appropriate block. And a quick screen pass out. That's going to be Jaquan Reynolds, and Reynolds going to get stood up by a whole host of players there on the defensive side of the ball. A number of guys getting there, including Devin Long, Kamir Harris. You take another look. Boyd able to lay the initial boom there. So 1 yard gain there.
Everybody get ready. Cheerleaders are doing a t-shirt throw.
They're going to do a t-shirt throw. You don't see that a lot in high school games. A t-shirt throw. It is too cold for a t-shirt, as some of our crew is talking. As Birch rather, out of options there, rolled out to the left, had nothing downfield, tried to turn it upfield. As you'll take another look here on the replay, pump fake is able to fake one defender, but after that, Devin Long comes in and cleans up. That's Shane McGraw. It's 8 and 9. Can be a little hard to see. Shane McGraw, good job there.
From the Gateway 37-yard line.
So 3rd and 8 now. Another 3rd and long situation for the Gators. This time is starting to become something to think about, down 2 scores. And Birch, again, no time. He's able to get away momentarily, but no. Sure-handed, and another sack for Amp Bruton. Whether it's Bruton or Devin Long, Shane McGraw, even Bobby Boyd. I mean, Birch has had no time back there.
Yeah, Bruton was the guy who left his feet and was faked out by Birch, but this time Bruton wins this battle and takes down Bradley Birch for the sack, and that's a huge sack for the Tigers. And again, frustration for Gateway. You're not moving the ball like you really want to against this defense from McKeesport that is really, really good.
So Cole Plaskin on to punt, another high snap. He's able to get this one off, a high sailing punt. That one, again, going to take a healthy bounce for the Gators. And it'll be down at about the 31-yard line. And so the Gators defense will be tasked once again at stymieing this 3-pronged rushing attack of Perryman, Gibson, and certainly, last but not least, Boyd.
McKeesport, 35-yard line, 1st and 10, Tigers. 31-yard line, 1st and 10, Tigers.
Nice crowd on hand here tonight. And an interesting setup here at George L. Smith Field at Weigel Schaefer Stadium. Is almost more seating on the visiting side than the home side. We talked, as a short run there by Boyd. We actually have students that weren't able to sit in the student section, but rather are in sort of spillover seating over here on the visiting side.
How important football is to McKeesport, Pennsylvania. I mean, it is packed over in the home section. There are a lot of McKeesport fans on this, what is considered the away section, but they kind of own the away section themselves as well. A lot of black. You see, it was a blackout for McKeesport. A lot of teams wearing black. There's a lot of McKeesport Tigers. You see a lot of blue and red in this section as well.
An excellent crowd. It feels like we've had an excellent crowd at just about every game we've done this season. Franklin Regional was a sellout. The crowds at Antimarino Stadium have been great. Here's a nice little run up toward the 40-yard line for Boyd. He's going to get stopped just shy of the 40, so once again it'll be 3rd and short. As Perryman fumbled the last time. We'll see what they draw up here on 3rd and what will be about 1. As it looks like this will take us to the end of the 3rd quarter. We'll have 12 minutes left to determine a winner here. Just 1 score in that 3rd quarter, but boy was it a big one. An 85-yard touchdown run from Jaleel Perryman. And it's 21-10 McKeesport as we head into the 4th. The Gators going to need a stop and some scores if they're going to get back into this one and come away with a big non-conference win.
Yeah, Gateway, again, they need a stop here against McKeesport. I don't think we've seen a drive. We haven't seen back-to-back stops on a drive for Gateway, I should say, since the 1st quarter, I believe, when McKeesport had to punt twice in a row. But it's a big game, and McKeesport, they have come to play. Give them a ton of credit. They look like the better team right now, and that's not in the fault of Gateway. I don't think Gateway looked like a bad team. It's just McKeesport's defense is just stifling and very impressive. And it shows you 2.7 points per game, and they're playing. Well, we talked about it before the game where we thought that they were playing kind of teams that had struggled so far this year, not the best of competition, but they have shown up against a top team in 4A. Or excuse me, a top team in 5A in the likes of Gateway.
So the 4th quarter will start with what officially is a 3rd and 2, with McKeesport at its own 39-yard line. Trying to convert, keep this drive going. Perryman under center. Sends a man in motion. They'll hand it off and fall forward. And it looks like Perryman will have enough as he keeps it. They sent Demir Clark in motion, and then Perryman called his own number, and that will move the chains.
And you know what's crazy about this? Watch the play. Watch how Perryman's the one who falls over, but there's 3 guys tackling the running back. So Perryman isn't, a lot of Gateway players didn't even know he had the ball in the sense that he just kind of fell over, but Gateway still didn't figure out who had the ball as the play was even over.
So fresh set of downs here at the McKeesport 41-yard line. Tigers will settle under center once again. And they will once again fake the handoff. It'll be Perryman, and Perryman will jet forward for a nominal gain up to about the 45-yard line. So we'll call that a gain of 4, and now a Gator down on the field, writhing in a bit of pain.
Number 8, Bose.
Here's that might be Demetrius Harper, who looks like he is in some serious pain. So we will hope that Harper is able to get to his feet. You certainly don't want to see injuries in any game whatsoever. That's one of the things you worry about in some of these late season non-conference games, is getting important impact players dinged up before a postseason run, or at least an attempt at it. And Demetrius Harper, a couple interceptions a couple weeks ago in the win over Hempfield, plays an excellent game at that edge rusher position, and if he misses any extended amount of time, that's going to be a big loss for the Gators.
Yeah, it's huge for Gateway, and especially a team that is a lot more pass heavy that we've seen in the past couple weeks. Of course, McKeesport has yet to really throw the ball this evening, and that's kind of frustrated Gateway, I think, especially we talk about, the ball hawk players for Gateway. A lot of interceptions so far this year, but obviously they haven't had any interceptions because McKeesport doesn't throw the ball, and you have to wonder how much of that was watching the footage, watching Franklin Regional, watching Plum, watching these teams really run the ball against Gateway.
So we'll take a look at some upcoming broadcasts here for our Gateway Gators production. There'll be some girls volleyball this next week. Spencer, will you be on the call for that?
I will be. That's a good team. Gateway has really turned the things around after last year. Second-year head coach for the Gators has really turned that program around.
And I'm sure we'll add something between the October 21st and 28th games, but those are your final 2 regular season games. Believe it or not, folks, we are almost done with the regular season here for the football season for the Gators. They do look like they will secure a playoff berth. I think folks would be pretty shocked if they weren't able to pull out a win versus Norwin, but we will wait and see. And then a non-conference clash with Pittsburgh Central Catholic, the Vikings, to end that season. That's a 6A versus 5A. It'll be the first 6A opponent and the only one that the Gators will play this season, as Demetrius Harper is up and moving. That is the good news, but the bad news is he is requiring a whole heck of a lot of help to get off the field. And for the Gators, who are already struggling against this triple option, this flex bone formation, losing Demetrius Harper is a big, big deal. So as it stands, no gain on first down. It'll be 2nd and 10 for the Tigers upcoming, or rather 2nd and 6. They have not updated the scoreboard. The ball is at the 45-yard line. Tigers threatening to go into Gators territory once again. We'll see what they cook up here on 2nd and 6 with the play clock at about 16 as they break the huddle and get to the line.
It brings Amari Gans into the game for the Gators, and will McKeesport go after him?
Fumble, ball is loose, and Ricariel's going to dive on it, and the Gators, with a big-time takeaway, will get the ball in McKeesport territory. And my goodness, you would think that the Gators might have been the ones that were flummoxed a little bit by an injury, but McKeesport comes out and turns the ball over.
Yeah, Perryman telling his team, I think he might have accidentally gotten that knocked out of his hand by a lineman who was pulling to the left there. Again, holding on to it, kind of holding out, for that fake for the running back up the middle. It got knocked out of his hand by a lineman. And the Gators really fortunate here, but they need to capitalize in good field position, or halfway decent field position at the 45-yard line, 40-yard line for the Gators.
Couldn't agree more, Spencer. You get the ball at the 42-yard line with 10.5 minutes left, down 2 scores. If you're the Gators, this is your opportunity. Play action. They're going to take a shot here on the first play after, and it's almost intercepted. Going deep, looking for the ever-talented number 5 Dallas Harper, and that one almost taken away by Holtzman.
I like that call for a Gateway going deep on this one, and Birch had some room and had some time to make that throw. Last second he's able to get it off, but you see Holtzman playing defensive back, and I thought Harper would get that, but that ball's just a little bit behind Harper where Holtzman is able to get his hands on it too.
So that'll bring up 2nd and 10 from the 42, and they'll hand it off. No, Birch will keep it. He loses the ball now. It's loose, picking it up and going the other way. On the way to the end zone, number 54, Amp Bruton. And the big guy picks it up, rumbles his way home. That's going to be a 58-yard fumble recovery touchdown from McKeesport. And my goodness, what a gut punch to the Gators.
Well earned by Amp Bruton, who has been in the backfield all day. And you take a look at this one, it was knocked out by number 8, Devin Long. Bruton, who was actually behind Birch the whole time because he was already back in the backfield. It rolls backwards, and Bruton's able to pick it up untouched for a touchdown. And that might be the one to seal the deal for the Tigers. Still 10 minutes left in this fourth, but it's been all Tigers so far in this second half.
4 unanswered touchdowns. As Campos, a high snap here, gonna get drilled. The holder there, and that was Perryman.
That's Perryman, yeah, and he is still down and slow to get up.
As he got absolutely drilled. He held it there waiting for Campos to kick. Campos never actually went through with the kick after the high snap, and that gave the Gators a free opportunity to take a shot on Perryman, who luckily is up and off the field under his own power. I see him jawing a little bit towards the Gators sidelines. I'm sure he's not too thrilled about how that played out.
No, and the problem I think for Perryman is that if it's a high snap, Campos isn't going to get there, because if he tries to take that kick, one of two things is going to happen. He's either going to get drilled in the leg by a guy diving in, or it's going to get blocked. So Perryman, at that point, you have to get up and at least just scramble away from that, unless you face the consequences there, unfortunately, for McKeesport. But good thing Perryman is up, because the starting quarterback, as the holder there, really took a shot on that one.
Both of these teams certainly have lofty expectations in their own respective classifications come the postseason. And again, certainly, if you ask both of these sidelines, this game does not lack meaning, but in the grander scheme of winning a championship, this game doesn't do a whole lot other than potential seeding, right? I mean, the committees look at the full strength of schedule, full performances when it comes down to time to seed who's going to match up with who. So certainly, this game is not totally devoid of meaning, but it's not going to show up in the conference standings. It's not going to impact whether these teams make or miss the playoffs, and so you want to avoid any big-time injuries, and luckily Perryman up and at him there.
Another squib kick.
And again, the Gators struggling to pick that one up. And now the up man going to get drilled. I believe that was Donovan Biggs, who was finally able to scoop that one up, tried to make something of it, but he's going to get pushed backwards, and the Gators are going to have a long way to go on this drive.
And Biggs is scooping that up backwards, and what he does is he tries to go backwards. And in a situation like this where you know guys are running at you, watch it, look here. Biggs, he's going to go backwards instead, and he runs right into 22. Chris Livesey, you got to either turn around and just take the knee or go straight towards the ends or sidelines. Do not go backwards, because the worst thing is you're pushing yourself back. You're giving them more yards by going backwards in that situation. You're not going to be able to wrap around and break away.
So this drive will start at the 19-yard line for the Gators, as they'll try and atone after Brad Birch fumbled it on a keeper. They'll take the snap here. He's got to get rid of this one. He drops the ball again. It's loose again, and the Tigers have it again. Another turnover. Birch loses it, and that one's picked up by number 12, Ben Eastman.
Well, he did get rid of it. He unfortunately put it on the ground, as a bad situation there for Gateway has gone from bad to worse, as you see Birch just lose it. And then Eastman is able to dive on it. Right place, right time for him. 12-12, Birch to Eastman, and McKeesport is sitting in the driver's seat, and they have it on autopilot right now.
One of maybe the only good signs, if you're a Gateway Gator fan, is in front of us. Demetrius Harper is running up and down the sideline. I will say with this one pretty well in hand for McKeesport, even with 10 minutes left, it might be best to keep number 11 on the sidelines and keep him for the playoff stretch run in a very important conference matchup next week with Norwin. As a timeout will be called by McKeesport. That is their second. They'll have just one remaining, but everything going the Tigers' way here in these subsequent 3 quarters. It was all Gateway in quarter number 1. They leapt out to a 10-0 lead. 27 unanswered points by the Tigers, and they're threatening again with a goal-to-go situation after the fumble by Brad Birch, his second of the quarter. First one was returned 58 yards by Amp Bruton. Now this last one recovered by number 12, Ben Eastman. So 10:05 left here. Ball at the 10-yard line, smack dab in the middle of the field. Perryman and company will go back to work. Leading 27-10. Again, they'll have a motion man. This one will get handed off, and forcing his way toward the pylon, toward the goal line. Is that a touchdown? I think they're going to mark Boyd. Bobby Boyd just short, but that's a 9-yard run on 1st and goal.
You know, Bobby Boyd has got to be happy about the score right now, but it seems like everybody else has been on the score sheet except for him. He had the return earlier. He had the run earlier that was called back. He is really trying to get himself into the end zone. We'll see if they give it back to him again.
2nd and goal inside the 1. Perryman just going to call his own number, fall forward, and that is a touchdown. McKeesport pouring it on here in front of the home crowd, and they are loving it.
Touchdown.
That's the 3rd touchdown of the night for Jamil Perryman. The Gators look stunned. They look frustrated. A lot of frustration on that sideline as this PAT is up and good. So McKeesport able to clean that up after a bobbled snap on the last one. And 34 unanswered points for McKeesport as this one has become a laugher. 20 points in the second half, all for the home team. And I think a lot of people, Spencer, wouldn't have been shocked had McKeesport won here in a home game against 2 teams that are very physical, very talented. They have a lot of size, a lot of playmaking ability at skill positions, but I don't think anyone would have foreseen this lopsided of a score.
No, and I mean, it's just the momentum for McKeesport coming out of this second half. It's just been all them, and Gateway has looked frustrated, like you had mentioned, and I think that's what McKeesport defense does. They frustrate players. They take them out of rhythm. They don't give them the offense that they want, obviously, and Gateway has not been able to respond with it, and it's just it's a shame, at least for the Gators, if you're looking at that situation, in the sense that they haven't been able to do anything other than, I think we've seen 2 drives, really. The first drive of the game, which only resulted in a field goal, and then we've seen another drive in the second half as well. That's been it, really, for the Gators, as it's another squib kick.
This one will be taken cleanly by Livesey. Livesey going to cut upfield. Livesey has an avenue, but he's undercut quickly as he is up over the 35, shy of the 40, and Shane McGraw, who has had an excellent night defensively and on special teams. A big hit there on Chris Livesey.
Heard a lot about all the linebackers so far. I mean, we really haven't heard anything from the defensive backs for McKeesport. No disrespect to them, but that's because they have been clogging the run game, and they have been forcing Birch to roll out and cause problems in the passing game.
Yeah, they certainly haven't had to make a lot of tackles, Spencer. That front 7 has cleaned things up. Not a whole lot of running room for Birch, Reynolds, and company. They're going to have to keep passing the ball here to try and get back into this one. And Birch again being chased, able to get himself out of the pocket. He'll run toward the sidelines there. He'll get up close to the 40. So it'll be a nominal gain there, if anything, for Birch on first down.
And again, you see the play action. Birch is able to drop back, but he keeps going backwards because he's getting more pressure. This time 79, Dimitri Brooks. I mean, we're hearing it from everybody on the front line for the Tigers, who have been in the backfield and given Birch problems. You making Birch uncomfortable this whole game, and he hasn't been able to get into a rhythm. Neither has his offense. As it's 2nd and 10, he was able to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Another passing down here. They'll get this one out to Livesey. Livesey able to make the first man miss, and now he fumbles the ball, and McKeesport has it. It's Perryman down the sidelines. He has blockers. He's going to take this one inside the 5 into the end zone. Another fumble recovery, this one by Perryman, and the route is on. Take another look. Livesey gets the screen pass. He's able to make one man miss, and they're poked out by the linebacker. Perryman takes it 44 yards for a score.
I believe it was Bobby Boyd who forced initially Livesey to lose the ball, and then McGraw is the one who gets the rest of it and is able to finish him off and fumble it. And frustrating for Livesey, who you can see was down on the field, still is being attended to, but you saw him slamming his fists on the turf. A frustrating night for Livesey, who, you know, really just trying to make a play, just trying to make the next play, trying to cut back. Thought maybe he'd go to the sideline. Instead, he cuts inward and had the extra couple of yards, but just couldn't hold on to the ball, and it's McKeesport again for another touchdown. And on both sides of the ball for Jamil Perryman.
4 total touchdowns for the senior, and the Gators are going to be seeing him in their nightmares tonight. He has been all over the field. 3 rushing touchdowns, 1 from 85, 1 from 75, and then moments ago called his own number and kept it plunged in from 1 yard out. Then picks up that fumble, takes it 44 yards to pay dirt. 3 fumbles in this 4th quarter alone for the Gators, and 2 of them returned for a touchdown. One by number 54, Amp Bruton. This one by Perryman, and you see there, folks, starting to beat the traffic a little bit. As I'm said it before, I think a little flummoxed. I thought we would, 14-10 coming out of the half, we had ourselves what looked like it was going to be an entertaining second half, and now things have gotten bad to worse for the Gators, as Livesey and Demetrius Harper both needing help to get off the field. Harper looks like he's okay, standing with all of his gear on the sidelines. He was running and doing some footwork drills to loosen up, but at this point, you have to wonder if it's maybe time to put the second team in and kind of wave that white flag. Kick is up, PAT is good. Much to the delight of the home crowd, it is a 31-point lead. It is 41 unanswered points for McKeesport. And what has been an absolute blitzkrieg here offensively and defensively. McKeesport has just dominated on both sides of the ball. It is all Tigers here with 8:56 left. We're in the territory. We're in danger of a running clock here for the Gators. I mean, when is the last time that the Gateway Gators have been in a situation where the running clock would be running against them?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, we talk about it before. When you talk about the teams year in and year out consistently good, even when we were in high school, McKeesport, Gateway, both of them have always had good football programs, great football programs. And McKeesport is showing it here right now, and Gateway, unfortunately for them, they've had good wins this year. They've beaten the teams that they need to beat for the most part. But McKeesport has really shown why they are a top team in the 4A for them. Number 2 team in 4A, and it shows.
Just behind Aliquippa, while the Gators behind Bethel Park. Although I'm sure the rankings for both teams will change as Lewis takes this one up close to the 40-yard line. But we've got some laundry in the back and tensions flaring over. Donovan Biggs with some choice words As it looks like number 10 as well for McKeesport, James Fulmore.
Larry Gibson and number 21.
Talking a little trash. So we have a flag over in that direction. We'll see what the call is. We've not had many penalties in this second half. We had a lot of laundry in the first.
Going to return, personal foul, targeting,
wow.
number 10 of the kicking team. That 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the return, first down.
So that'll be on Fulmore. He gets the targeting call against Donovan Biggs, and so that will give the Gators some prime field position to try and mount a drive and keep this one at least somewhat respectable here, as this one's really gotten away from Gateway in the second half.
You want to talk about tension, you want to talk about chippy. When's the last time you've seen a targeting on the kicking team in a situation? First off, you don't usually see it on special teams, number one. Second off, to see it on the kicking team, really trying to send a message here, was James Fulmore for targeting. And again, 41-10. I think the score has really shown it, but they're just trying to add to it.
They'll hand it off here. That's Reynolds. Not much cooking there as this drive starts for the Gators at their own 49. It looks like
Reynolds ball carrier, brought down by number 8, Devin Long.
Really not much of anything there. So the Gators who actually, excuse me, start McKeesport territory at the 49.
For no gain.
Not gain anything on that first down play.
From the Gateway, from the McKeesport 49-yard line.
So, tale of two teams, and you wonder psychologically what this does for both of these teams moving forward. As Birch going to hand this one off again, a nice hole there for Reynolds as he's able to get down the 42-yard line. Will bring up third and short. And for McKeesport, you've taken down one of the top teams in 5A in convincing fashion. It's got to do a lot getting ready for the playoffs and having confidence in winning a WPIAL and PIAA title. As this ball fumbled again, and Birch just has to run back and dive on it, which will bring up fourth and long back at midfield. And if you're the Gators, this second half, you wonder how much of that lingers in the psyche. Next week, certainly an opportunity for a get-right game against Norwood, a team that's really struggled in 5A. You wonder if a loss like this will linger and take some of the wind out of the sails of the Gators, who had put together a nice little 3-game winning streak. And they do have some quality wins. Penn Trafford, Mount Lebanon. But things have just not gone their way here tonight in East Pittsburgh. Birch, a little bit of time, drops back and just sails that one, no one home. As the coach catches it on the sidelines and almost kind of taunting, kind of runs it back as if he had intercepted it. I don't know that I've ever seen that before.
Having a little fun. I mean, he's having a little fun. Not what Birch wants to see, not what the Gators want to see, but that's what McKeesport is really wanting to see. And they're at their own home field. I mean, I don't want to say I'm speechless right now watching this Gateway team, but it's incredible watching. I will say this. I want to take back what I said at the beginning of the game. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I said it wasn't going to be a barn burner. And unfortunately, I have been wrong on that one, with all due respect to Gateway.
Yeah, a lot of scoring in this one. Mostly for one side, though, as looks like the second team offense will take this series for McKeesport against that top unit, and a big time hit there. Remy Bowes clotheslining the quarterback as in under center now. Number 23, Caden Holtzman, the senior. As you watch here, he takes a shot. Matthew Brooks in on the tackle as well.
Second and 9 from the Gateway 49-yard line.
6:22 left here in our final quarter. Gators, as we said, will return home to the friendly confines of Antimarino Stadium to take on the Norwin Knights in their Big East Conference finale. On the other side, McKeesport will head out even further east to take on Latrobe next week in conference action. Both of these teams returning to conference play. Another short run there. As you You see some backups for both teams. Carlos Diggs in on defense for the Gators. So far, that appears to be the only real substitution on the defensive side of the ball for the Gators. Otherwise, it's that first team unit. As things have chilled here, we're down to 50 degrees, but it sure feels a heck of a lot cooler than that. So 4th down upcoming for the Gators. 49 degrees, 5-mile-per-hour winds. We said goodbye to the sun quite a while ago.
Rolling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense. First down, Gateway.
Wow.
My apologies. I didn't even see that ball come out, but the Gators pounced on it. And so they'll take over at the 45-yard line with 5 minutes left. See if we can take a look here.
Yeah, I saw it come out at the end of that play, but I thought the running back, or the quarterback, I believe that was Holtzman. I want to correct myself if I'm wrong, but I thought he kind of just swiped his arm and was able to hold on to it, but instead it was Matthew Brooks who was able to dive on that one for the Gators.
So the Gators will bring that first team offense back out. McKeesport will keep their first team defense on the field. Birch gonna pass it downfield. There's Harper. Harper able to make one miss. That was Perryman. He drags the defender down inside the 30. Now he fumbles the ball, and it's another turnover for the Gators. This one recovered by number 26, Anthony Boyd.
And it was Ben Eastman who pulls that one out, and who gave the Gators butterfingers before, or actually in this second half, is you take a look, it's a nice play, it's a nice pass and catch for Harper, and Eastman right there is going to pull it out. 23 as well, Caden Holtzman over there as well, and then it's finally recovered by the Tigers, and when it rains, it pours here in McKeesport, Pennsylvania.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of hype about this defense, and for McKeesport, my goodness, has it settled in and lived up to the hype. After surrendering 10 points in that first quarter, they're just so opportunistic, always looking to strip the ball, making those heady plays. Not only is it a talented defense, you can tell it's a very well-coached defense as well.
And they're the second team in 4A, I believe, behind Aliquippa, if I'm correct. And I haven't watched the Quips this year, don't know exactly what they're doing respectfully, but this team here looks like the team to beat in 4A. I got to be honest with you. How they're playing as we take a look at the 4A rankings, Aliquippa, the Quips 6-0, McKeesport 7-0, Central Valley and the Highlands Golden Rams are also 7-0. But, I mean, McKeesport, with their defense and how well they play, I have to think that if they ever went up against Aliquippa or Central Valley, it's going to be low scoring for both of those teams.
Yeah, no shortage of incredibly talented teams. Central Valley, the longest winning streak in the WPIAL. They won the 3A state title last season. They're up in 4A. Highlands with an upstart team that's undefeated. And West Allegheny, that lone loss was just a 3-point loss, 19-16 against Aliquippa. So they showed they could stand toe-to-toe with the Quips, who needed a late touchdown to win that game against West Allegheny. So we are coming down the stretch run, and both in 4A and 5A, I think there's enough parity that these playoffs are going to be really, really exciting to watch. And certainly if the Gators are able to take care of business against Norwin next week, we will have a playoff contest for you here on the Gateway Gators production team, and in conjunction with the Trib Live High School Sports Network, which will carry almost all of the playoff action. They do such a great job every year. Second team offense again in, and there the guy that took away the fumble now fumbles it away. Anthony Boyd had a first down. He gets it stripped away, and so the fumble giveth, the fumble taketh. Boyd puts it on the turf after he comes up with the turnover. And
First down, Gateway.
not good to see Demetrius Harper again, really slow coming off of the field. He was injured earlier. And to see him slow like that, hobbling that right leg, doesn't look good. Taking a look on the play as Boyd gets tackled by Harper, who was the one who forced the fumble. Not good to see, though, for Harper. You hope he's all right, and I can't imagine, you know, the last couple 4 minutes, he's not going to be playing the rest of this game, especially just to be safe.
Well, he is standing on the sidelines. Looks a little belabored, but otherwise okay. So hopefully he gets a chance to rest, and the first team defense will come out relatively unscathed. Dallas Harper also getting stretched out for some cramps on the sidelines. Again, Harper getting the offer to Duquesne today, so congratulations to that young man. Very deserving. 7 interceptions on the season. He has been incredible on both sides of the ball. As Reynolds, again, going to run here. He dives forward towards the 40-yard line. A little short will bring up 3rd and manageable for the Gators. Take another look here at the replay.
Reynolds ball carrier, route number 2, Jameer Brown. After a gain of 5 yards, 3rd and 4.
So the Gators will drop to 6-2 on the season.
41-yard line.
And McKeesport will remain unblemished. They'll move to 8-0 on the season as they'll hand it to Reynolds once again. Reynolds able to spin around, and the spinorama gets him inside the 35 down to the 33-yard line. So needed a few, got much more than that. That'll be a first down, and a little confidence here with the ground game, but just a little too late for the Gators tonight, who just weren't able to put together anything consistently. They'll hand it off once again. Not much going that time as Reynolds just able to get back to the line of scrimmage.
It's tough for the Gators, and this is a game that I think you're going to want to forget going into next week. But if you're a team like Penn Hills, if you're a team like Pine Richland, you're watching this game. Someone who plays Gateway in the first round of the playoffs, you're watching this game because you want to know, what did McKeesport do to stifle this Gateway offense and the defense struggling against the offense?
Back shoulder throw there. Nice catch, and Derek Selby, again, coming up with a nice grab. The sophomore, 5'8", goes up, high points that ball, and you see someone who might be able to be a prime-time performer for the next few years. He's already made some big-time grabs this season.
Yeah, Selby, one of the bright spots, I think, so far this evening for the offense that unfortunately hasn't been able to do too much, but Selby has done pretty well.
Reynolds with a nice gash up the middle there. He's inside the 10-yard line. So that'll be a gain of about 4 yards on first down. Reynolds starting to find a little rhythm here late in the game.
I don't think Jaquan Reynolds has done bad when it comes to the rushing. I think he's been able to find the holes, get himself a couple yards, but McKeesport, when they need to be there, though, they have been.
Another fumble. Birch able to pick this one up. Got to try and spin away. Needs to get rid of this one, and he'll just throw that away wisely in the area of Malachi Moore. So it'll bring up 3rd and 5.
A heads-up play by Birch. Bad snap, but he's able to recover, and you see him make those couple of spins. You see 1 right there, 2 right there, and then he's able to just throw it away. Smart play by Birch. Again, when you're down this big, not forcing anything, you don't want to be any worse than what it is already.
McKeesport has put in much of their second-team defense. The Gators trying to feast on it, as this will get them down to about the 5-yard line. We'll bring up 4th and call it about 2. Gators will certainly go for it here, as we are down inside minute 15 now. See if the Gators go to the ground or go to the air here. Reynolds is still in motion. They'll hand it to him. He's able to get inside the 5, down inside the 3. That ball's fumbled. It's still loose. Santos wasn't able to come up with it. And I think once again, oh, it was recovered in the end zone.
Holding on the field is a fumble, recovered in the offense recovered in the end zone for a touchdown by the offense.
So, Jacob Santos, the big man, watch him scoop and score. Unconventional, but he's in the end zone. I don't know how necessarily you mark that one down, but touchdown Gators.
It was Bobby Boyd who forced the fumble for McKeesport, and yeah, I got to be honest, that was a weird one, but Gateway will take anything they can to get themselves a touchdown and just kind of make this look a little bit more respectable here for the extra point.
That one up and good, 41-17. is the score with exactly 60 seconds left on the clock. So Reynolds did a lot of work on that drive, but he won't get credit for the touchdown. Fumbles it. Jacob Santo falls on it in the end zone. Been just that kind of night. Even when they reach pay dirt, still didn't look pretty. But it does end 41 consecutive points scored by McKeesport. What a swing in this game. Gators went up by double digits, landed that first sort of heavyweight punch between these two big-time teams, and from there McKeesport settled in, got back to their game, and on both, really all three facets of the game have thoroughly dominated in this game.
And credit to the Tigers. I mean, again, they responded after Gateway came out in the first drive, looked pretty good on offense. McKeesport was able to respond themselves, and it has been all Tigers in this one since then for the most part.
Cole Plaskin will give boot to ball one more time. This one will be taken inside the 15-yard line. That'll be Boyd. Boyd up over the 30. He'll get stopped just shy of the 35-yard line. The clock will stop with 53 seconds left. And we will see likely the last possession in this one, barring any sort of turnover. So the good news, non-conference means no real damage done for the Gators. They'll have a chance against Norwin next week to improve to 4-1 in conference play and solidify a berth in the playoffs. As the victory formation, a knee is taken there. They'll have to do it one, maybe two more times, but that will do it. Looking across scores in the Big East, Franklin Regional well on their way. 56-14 over Hempfield. They'll move to 4-0. So the Panthers will claim at least a share of the conference title, and they can win it outright with a game against Penn Trafford next week. And that one looks like it's going to be a big, big game. Penn Trafford up 2 scores midway through the third against Plum. And that will potentially, I mean, if Penn Trafford upsets Franklin Regional, that would create a 3-team logjam at the top of the Big East standings. But we'll see what happens next week. This week didn't quite go the Gators' way. Clock hits triple zeros, and it is 41-17. Gators get a late touchdown. But the big story here, McKeesport, 41 consecutive points on the ground, returning fumbles, dominating in the special teams game. I mean, Spencer, the Tigers look for real. They might be one of the best teams this side of the state.
I talked about, yeah, I mean, if this team wins state, I would not be surprised at all for the most part. McKeesport played well offensively, defensively, even the special teams played well, and give all of them credit. Give them credit where credit is due. We talked about how this was the game of the week. We talked about how this was a big matchup, even though it was a non-conference, and it really didn't matter as much as you would mention. McKeesport showed why they're a top team, and Gateway, unfortunately for them, got some work to do.
Yeah, and I mean, continuing on with the Tigers, you know, Bobby Boyd, that's who everyone's focusing on. 700 yards coming into this game, 11 touchdowns. But Jaleel Perryman, he carried the load tonight. 3 rushing touchdowns, a fumble recovery touchdown, 4 total scores. I mean, that was a man that just dominated this game from an individual standpoint.
Yeah, and we saw that in the past couple of weeks, especially with the quarterbacks being able to run. And Perryman, a guy like that, who was able to run up the gut and were able to kick out as well. Gateway couldn't stop the run. We've talked about it week in and week out, how the Gators have really struggled against teams that can run the ball really well, and the Tigers can run the ball. Perryman didn't throw the ball at all. I don't believe he threw a single pass. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he tried to. I think he tried. I mean, he might have went back in shotgun for a little bit. And it's kind of interesting how when they were in shotgun, nothing was working. But when the Tigers figured out that flexbone offense, things worked out for McKeesport, and they're going to keep going, and Gateway's really got to figure that out.
They'll have a chance with the get-right game next week, their conference finale against Norwin. Is this a game that gives you any concern for the playoff and championship aspirations for the Gators, or did they just run into a team in 4A that looks like they might very well contend for the WPIAL and state title?
I don't want to call it a humbling game for Gateway, but in the sense that you're taking on a team that has a lot of talk as well, and you've been humbled. You've been told that you need to work on things. Yeah, you're number 2 in 5A, but things need to be fixed. And you talked about it, the Norwin game wasn't supposed to be big. Norwin, unfortunately, 1-6 in their conference, maybe 1-7 now. This is a game that they need this score. They need 41-17. They need 41 less than 17 to really make a statement in 5A and show that they still have what it takes.
Still 2 games left. They will go home. The Gators will. They'll take on Norwin before finishing the season on the road at Pittsburgh Central Catholic. On the other side, McKeesport will go and take on Latrobe at Latrobe next week. McKeesport moves to 8-0 with a 41-17 win over the Gators, who fall to 6-2. For Spencer Witt and our entire production crew, led by Lee Schaefer tonight, thank you all so much for tuning in here on YouTube and the Trib Live High School Sports Network. We'll be back next week at home, again on the Trib Live High School Sports Network and NFHS at Ante Marino Stadium as the Gators take on the Norwin Knights. But tonight, once again, your final score, McKeesport 41, Gateway 17. Be safe and have a great night.